It's time to rewire your mind. Welcome to the Hayden Russo Show, the show that provides you with inspiration to help you succeed in life. Here's your host, Hayden Russo.
Woo! Bump that there, Dave. Keep playing that there, Dave. That's what I'm talking about. This is TalkZone.com. You know where you at, baby. You know where you at. This is Talk Zone, and I'm welcoming you back. I want to thank you guys back. This is the Hayden Russo Show, the show that is here to motivate you, to entertain you, and to teach you all at the same time. I don't know how we're going to get it done, but we're here to do just that. We want to welcome you back. I would be totally remiss. We have to begin to understand the importance of people, the importance of people that you take for granted into your life or in your workplace, or people that mean significant part of your dreams and your ambitions and things that you're trying to do. You don't get to miss these people until they're gone. And godly, I'm glad to have Dave back. Dave was gone for a week, and I thought that my whole world was coming to an end. I was pushing buttons all over the place. I was doing all kind of things. So I want to truly apologize for last week's show. If you got the rerun version, we did a wonderful job at cleaning things up. If you were listening live, I am truly sorry for the things that happened. We have high standards here on Talk Zone, and I want to make sure that we keep those standards. And please don't judge us on one show. Judge us by the actions on average of our shows and the message and the things that we try to bring to you each and every Wednesday. I got to tell you, I went to a comedy show. Arsenio Hall was at a comedy show. Very fortunate to be spending some time with the wife, getting some RR in, because anytime you have a long week, anytime you're having a bad day, anytime you're going through any issues, nothing is better than watching a comedy show. It seems to take your mind away, get you distracted, and get you to having fun. And remember, when you're having fun and those creative juices are flowing, oh my God, you are having fun. Now, there's a couple little things that I want to talk about, right? Now, women, I'm not picking on you, all right? I'm not picking on you. I'm just repeating what the comedian said. Now, Arsenio Hall was making a joke, and he was talking about how you have that stubborn little toe. You know, the little toe that's on the end, like them pretty women. You have the pretty women, and then you look down at their feet. They have that little toe that like sticking right on top. You know, it's stubborn. It don't want to just sit perfect. You know what I mean? Like the rest of the toes, it just want to sit all cocky and stuff. Like, hey, look at me. You know? So I thought that was quite fascinating, and I just love the audience in a comedy show. When you go to a comedy show, that is what the world should be like. You know, it's a mixture of people. You know, white, black, orange, purple, green. I was hitting on the woman in front of me, and I didn't know who she was. He turned around and he started buying the drinks. And we just had fun like we knew each other. That's what fun does. And that's why I like hanging around kids. That's why I like watching basketball, because kids love to dream. See, it's when we start getting older that we tend to get things twisted, and we start taking life seriously, and the universe don't act the way that we want it to. Okay? So we're going to get it right today. We're definitely going to get it right today. The first thing that we all must do is we all must understand that we have to dream. So before I get into the conversation, what we're going to be talking about, I need to ask you a few questions. Are you going after your goals? And if not, why not? You know? Be honest with yourself with that question. You know, when I'm asking myself those type of questions, I'd say to myself, hey, I want the good life. But wanting the good life is one thing. Or let me ask this question. What is the good life for you? But the first thing in wanting a good life, you must know what it is that you want. You have to know your desires, your goals, and your dreams. Because you'll never be able to persevere. You'll never be tough enough to endure all of the failures that are going to come. And I break this thing down for you guys, and I try to do it systematically. Okay? And if you don't know what your dreams are, or if you do know what your dreams are, how you plan to accomplish them? And for some of y'all out there, why are dreams important? Everything starts with a dream. The woman you're with, the school you went to, the car you ride, the clothes you wear. The people you meet is because of your dreams, because when you begin to put your dreams out into the universe begins to send you the people and the places and the things to bring those wishes to fruition. How do you plan? How are you going to strategize a plan and then execute that plan and give yourself the chance and the success level that you need to be successful at accomplishing your goals and your dreams? And how you execute that plan and stay on track to fulfill it. These would be some of the things that we would be talking about today on this show. And if you would like to join our conversation, the phone lines are open. 888-463-6748. That's 888. Go forward. Everything starts with a dream. John F. Kennedy came up with the dream that he wanted a man on the moon. No one knowed how we were going to get there. I told you on countless shows, and you can go back, and as I told you before, we need to pause for a short station identification. You're live on TalkZone.com, and this is the Hayden Russo Show. We've told you on countless shows that you have to dream. And not only did the president didn't know how he was going to accomplish it, he began to tell you all the difficulties that he was going to have. Now, this is my assumption on what I think it is. President Kennedy wakes up all happy-go-lucky, and he walks in and sit down, and his chief of staff start telling him, oh, you got to be able to get out of the atmosphere and get back in. It's going to be hotter than the sun. How can the human body take from going out of this atmosphere to the next atmosphere to the next? And how do we break all these barriers and get a human being back and give him food and this, that, and the other? And after he took all that in, he said, so what? Dave, if you wouldn't mind on that first clip going to 9:40, you can let me know when you're there. We'll play that until 10:26. But he said, so what? Now, I'm going to play 2 different clips for you on this subject, on John F. Kennedy dreaming, but everything starts with a dream. Are you serious? Every time you get a dream, write it down. Every time you get a dream, write it down. And don't let anyone tell you what it is that you can't accomplish. Because as we get into the next clip, the beginning clip will introduce you to the dream, and then we'll cap you with how John F. Kennedy just said that I'm going to make this happen. And if you wouldn't mind, Dave, you'll go ahead and play that clip for him, please.
Read from John F. Kennedy, and you'll see why. This one you all know about. He was following an old General Dwight D. Eisenhower. He's in his 40s, a whole new era for America and the world. You'll be familiar with the first part of this, but probably not the second.
My fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
He continues.
Now, I'm trying to be very careful with how I say this, okay? Because I see things a little bit different. See, on the Democrat side, I think that they try to feed food stamp, housing, and that type of stuff. That's not what John F. Kennedy said. He ain't saying looking for a handout. Okay? Now, on my Republican side now, we getting every tax break. We getting every regulation cut. Okay? But if we're getting all these cuts and we're not giving back to the community and our dreams are not built on a solid foundation, okay, it will crumble. Okay? So when you believe in your dreams, stand and have morals behind your dreams and put your character and put your name and stand behind it, and don't let anyone tell you. Because as you listen to this next clip, and we're going to continue playing this clip from where we stopped, but as we continue playing it, John F. Kennedy is telling you what all his cabinet staff said, that all of the things that he had to go through. And then after he told you that, he committed not only himself, but the United States of America to be the first person to put somebody on the moon. If you wouldn't mind, Dave, you'll keep playing that clip for me.
My fellow citizens of the world, ask not what America will do for you, but what together we can do for the freedom of man.
The world became a different place because of that speech and that new president. And he proved it several times. A couple years later at Rice University, he's talking about his authentic passion to put a man on the moon. Listen to the level of detail here and notice that this is such a visionary leader that he even commits himself and the United States of America when we don't even at that point know how to do it.
We shall send to the moon 240,000 miles away from the control station in Houston, a giant rocket more than 300 feet tall, the length of this football field, made of new metal alloys, some of which have not yet been invented, capable of standing heat and stresses, several times more than have ever been experienced, fitted together with a precision better than the finest watch, carrying all the equipment needed for propulsion, guidance, control, communications, food, and survival, on an untried mission to an unknown celestial body, and then return it safely to Earth, re-entering the atmosphere at speeds of over 25,000 miles per hour, causing heat about half that on the temperature of the sun, almost as hot as it is here today, and do all this, and do it right, and do it first. Before this decade is out, then we must be bold.
How amazing is that, right? Sadly, he didn't get to live to see that. but he made it happen through his vision, his leadership, and creating that tipping point with that speech. And then, as you know, the famous speech, he's in Berlin. The West Berliners are suffering mightily. He goes in and says they're not alone.
This president set us on a course to find places after the earth may be gone. Okay? So all you kids out there that want to say, oh, I might be living on Mars, and for all you rich friends out there that are already flying to Mars, okay, and I'll be there soon. Give me about 5 to 10 years. I'm not jealous. I'm work hard just like you did, and I'm accomplish what it is I'm after. And me and my family, or me and my wife, will fly and take a trip to Mars as well. But it was because of John F. Kennedy. I tell you what, you see where John F. Kennedy is taking us to the moon. Dave, if you will go to the beginning, the very beginning of this same clip, and we're going to play it for about 1 minute and 2 seconds. Look what Ted Roosevelt set the plate up. And this is how the universe works. Ted Roosevelt set the plate up so John Kennedy can hit the ball out of the park, and then somebody else will bring us home. If you wouldn't mind, Dave, could you play that clip for me, please?
It's 1903, and this extraordinary guy named Teddy Roosevelt is standing on the edge of the Grand Canyon. And at that time, people wanted to create hotels and spas and turn the Grand Canyon in 1903 into a profit-making Disneyland of the environment. And he stood and said no. And he created a tipping point for the environmental movement and for the world. He said, leave it as it is. The ages have been at work on it, and man can only mar it.
You can pause that, Dave.
The world would have been a different...
Had Mr. Roosevelt, had President Roosevelt would have allowed them to build hotels on the Grand Canyon. Are you serious? We would never have visions of going to the moon. Okay? But when I tell you this universe takes everybody's effort to make it happen, and they making it happen on the president front, okay? All right? I wouldn't be here on TalkZone.com, this wonderful network putting out positive message, if I didn't have a dream to want to be on the radio. And before I go to the commercial break, I got to leave you with a big dream. And Dave, if you'll get it ready for me at 16 minutes and 6 seconds, same clip. If it wasn't for dreamers, we wouldn't have cell phones. We wouldn't have microwaves. We wouldn't have air conditioning. We wouldn't have phones. We wouldn't be able to get along with each other if it wasn't for the dreamers. And Dave, if you got that 16 minutes and 6 seconds, go ahead and play that for me, please. We're going to go to 17.
Feel it and notice it. This is the last speech he gave before he died. He died, and it was obvious he knew it. He died the next day.
Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about any not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
It's time to take a short break. We'll be back with more right after this.
This segment of the show was sponsored by Shakira Roll at ERA Home Run Real Estate. Buy, sell, or rent, I can help the entire world. Need assistance with down payment? No problem. Call Shakira Roll today at 561-312-2641 or email her at info@rollhome.com. That's info@rollehome.com. Visit her website at www.rollhome.com. That's www.rollehome.com.
Who is Hayden Russo? Featured in the Black Enterprise magazine, philanthropist, community activist, successful businessman, cheerleader. Find out who's Hayden Russo. Failure is not an option. Available. Amazon.com. Car accident? Dents or scratches? Has the Florida sun faded your ride? Call High Gloss Paint and Body. Their service is fast and reliable. High Gloss Auto Paint and Body will deal with your insurance company, taking all the load off your shoulders. I know what that can be like. Call them today, 561-508-4220. They're located on 2550 Windsor Avenue, Suite A, West Palm Beach, Florida. You tell High Gloss that Hayden Russo sent you. If you would like to be a sponsor or advertiser on the show, call today at 561-723-6781. If there's a topic you would like to discuss on the show, call and inform us today at 561-723-6775. You can always reach me at Facebook at Hayden Russo. That's HYDNROUSSEAU. Motivational Speaker Incorporated. Hayden Russo, author, radio show host, motivator. Book Hayden Russo today, 561-723-6775. It's time for a change, and let Hayden Russo show you the way.
You're listening to The Hayden Russo Show on TalkZone.com. Here's Hayden Russo.
Hey, Dave, if you wouldn't mind, give me something creative. Give me a little beat to get my juices flowing. You know, sometime doing this talking, man, I just get a little winded down. I just need something to spice me up. Woo! Woo! Mm-hmm. There we go. There we go. I appreciate it, Dave. Now, you know, I've been trying to get you guys to understand that God has created us in God-like fashion. We have electricity that runs through our body. And if you don't believe me and you want to contribute your life to power in the city for a week, we can take your body and power even any city in New York or anywhere around this country for a week. That's a lot of power within. But the problem that we have, and I've been listening to a lot of my friends always complaining, always whining about what's happening to them. This person did that. And women, I'm sorry. I don't mean no disrespect when I say this. Okay. Some of my friends have been raped. Some of my friends have been in abusive relationships. Some of my friends are at the tipping point of thinking that they should be hitting on women. I'm here to tell you, anytime that you got to be putting your hands on anyone, you've lost. Anytime that you have to begin to think that you have to control people with anger, you've lost. Okay? We've given you mind games on this show with the left side of the brain, which I think is the negative side of the brain, and the right side of the brain, which is the positive side of the brain. It's only two halves. Okay? But you can't keep letting this fear continue to dominate you. We have to get past our fears. Okay? We have to get past all of these things. And Dave, we're going to go from 1 minute and 27 seconds to 1:44, just the same clip to talk about fear and how we need to overcome this fear so that we can persevere and outlast the old you, the old problems, the old situations, the old hurt, the old loss, the old loss of husband, the loss of life, a loss of a kid, a loss of a loved one. Get rid of all of that old stuff. Outlast that old stuff to get to the new. Dave, if you wouldn't mind starting that clip for me, I greatly appreciate it. 127 to 144, and as he can get that together, we have to understand that fear can be overcome, and we have to overcome it. Go ahead, Dave.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Nameless, unreasoning, unjustified terror, which paralyzes needed effort to convert retreat into advance.
The world would have been a different place without those words at that time from that man. So, in my 30 years of studying public speaking and great speeches, I've found that there are 7 secrets that great speakers do. That
you can pause that, Dave. Fear, as Mr. Roosevelt, President Roosevelt, continued to tell you, is the number one thing that holds us back. The number one. And Dave, if you wouldn't, Winston Churchill said it best. And Dave, if you wouldn't mind giving me that short clip there, Winston Churchill said it best. If you wouldn't mind.
Have video in the House of Commons in 1940.
I would say to the House, as I said to those who joined the government, I have nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears, and sweat.
That's determination. That is pure desire. That we're not going to do anything. We're not going to let anything get in our way. Are you serious? Are you telling me that once you have a dream, just because you failed 10 times, that's it? What if what if your school gave up on you when you come to school the first half of the year? You'll never be able to recover and overcome the test that you failed. When you fail the first test, you're not going to persevere and say, oh, I get them on the next one. I got to pass the next 3 tests to bring my score up. You know, all of us want the good life. All of us want to live the abundance of life. All of us want to enjoy all of the riches of this life. But are you willing to pay the price? Dave, if you wouldn't mind starting that clip from the beginning, I'll let you know when to cut it.
Everybody wants the good life, but not everybody gets the good life, right? Imagine for a second, if right now, today, how much more successful would you be if you just started a company 50-50 with Bill Gates as your business partner, and he was using every trick of the trade that he used to build Microsoft into one of the biggest companies in the world? Imagine how much money you'd have in your bank account today, how much more money, I should say, if Warren Buffett was teaching you how to invest in the stock market, showing you what he used to build Berkshire Hathaway into a $140 billion company. Imagine how much happier you'd be today if the Dalai Lama was your personal guide showing you how to find fulfillment in life, in the little things that most people overlook. Imagine how healthy you'd be today if, when you woke up, you went down to your gym and Arnold Schwarzenegger was waiting there. He was your personal trainer, right? Showing you how he built his body into the most fit body maybe ever, right? Imagine the change you would be making in the world, the injustice you'd be solving today if Mother Teresa and you were running a charity together and she was showing you what she learned on the streets of Calcutta, helping poor, the sick, and the dying. Mentors have the power to do this in your life. I think everybody here recognizes the importance of a role model. But in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how mentors are more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
You can go ahead and pause that right there. So, we're trying to begin to get into, after you're dreaming, how you must begin to change your mindset. Because, see, when you start to dream, and Miss Kelly, I got to jump off section. I got to jump off topic for 1 second. See, as soon as a dream comes, the first thing you say, I don't have the money. I don't have the resources. I don't have the assets. You know, I'm using all this fancy language that people like to use in the industry. I don't have the collateral. Are you serious? Don't talk to me about some documents and you referring to them as collateral or resources. Let's speak plain English here. It is what it is. Either you know or you don't know. And what I'm finding is that all of the people that are stuck, all of the people that are in fear of going after their dream because they are hanging around dream killers when we told you that you are a product of your most successful friends. And instead of you looking from someone outside of your comfort zone that can help you, reaching up, sending emails to people you don't know and saying, hey, I'm willing to work for you for free. Just teach me what you know. But no, you want something for free. You don't want to pay the price, but you want a good life. Are you serious? When are we going to start doing the hard things and start becoming the person that can persevere when you make big blunders? When you lose substantial amount of money. I've been broke 10 times. I would never, ever think that I would commit suicide for anything. But guys, there are billionaires that have killed themselves because they lost $3 billion and they still worth $9 billion. Are you serious? That's a weak mind. That's a person that's not knowing. That's a person that doesn't know how to be number 2 or number 3 and don't know how to humble himself. We'll talk about humbling yourself the next period, in the next segment. But however, I find that most of the people that are having problems, that are stuck, that can't get out of the rut that they're in, is because, number one, you haven't decided what you want. You haven't dreamed. And if you haven't dreamed, I tell you what you do. Go to the beach. Go to your friend penthouse. Call your buddy. Go sleep at his mansion and feel what he feels every night and begin to dream. And once you find that dream, put a plan behind it. Put action upon your feet and start making the baby steps. And I'm telling you, just do 5 small things every single day towards your dream. And if you don't know what the 5 things to do, look at your dream for 5 minutes until you figure it out. And every time that you become successful, understand that you got to continue moving towards your dream. And your dream is not finished because you halfway there. Your dream is not finished because you 75% there. Your dream is not finished because you had a mission to donate $100 million and you got in the 70. So what? Are you serious? The mission is not finished until it's complete. 100%. My kids always tell me in the morning, I'm ready, but they still putting on the shoes. I'm ready, but my daughter's still combing her hair. I'm ready, but my wife's still putting on makeup. Either you are or you're not. It's simple. It's black and white. This is not 50 Shades of Grey. This is real life. What is the good life to you? And what you plan to do about it? How you plan to accomplish it? Dave, if you wouldn't mind going into that clip for me, I greatly appreciate it.
So I want to talk a little bit about that today because life is short. I think we all realize the sands of time quickly can slip by in your life. And you don't want to be old when you finally get the good life or too old, right? It's like the Dutch saying, we're too soon old, too late smart. Steve Jobs said, I didn't want to be the richest man in the graveyard. And I realized this. I remember back, I was younger, and Alan Nation, one of my mentors, he had told me, he said, Ty, he said, what did you want to be when you were 16? That's the truest version of yourself. What did you want to be when you were 16? And I remember at 16, I wanted to find the good life. You know, Aristotle talks about eudaimonia, his definition of the good life. Health, wealth, happiness, love, all those things. And I remember going, it's too hard. How am I ever going to figure this out? There's so many hard questions. I'm 16. I got to figure out what college I'm going to go to, what religion I'm going to follow, who I'm going to marry, what politics, where to live, what career and path to pursue. And I had this idea. I was like, I know the perfect idea. What I'll do is I'll find one person. I thought this was so genius. It turned out to not be so smart. But I'd find one person who had all the answers. So I wrote a letter. The smartest person I could think of was my grandfather. So I wrote this letter, and I was like, will you tell me how to design my life? TED is about T-E-D. The D is about design, the designed life. So I said, will you help me design my life? And I was so excited. 4 days later, I got this letter back from my grandpa. I read it, and it said, sorry, Ty, I can't help you. The modern world's too complicated. You will never find all the answers from just one person. If you're lucky, a handful of people along the way will point the way. And I was like, right, so much for my shortcut. But 7 days later, a package came. It was books. My grandfather had a 20,000 book library, and he had sent me some old dusty ones, 1,000-page volume, 11 books. The Story of Civilization by Will and Ariel Durant. And I was like, 1,000 pages? This is too much, right? But I see now he was giving me a hint. I didn't understand it, that there's this myth that you have to go inward to find truth. But the truth he was saying is you have to go outward. If you can download the consciousness, the mindset of people who have gone before you, the smartest, the wisest, the most intelligent, the most experienced people, then you will get what you want.
You know, I get a lot of people to tell me, Hayden, where do you find these clips? Hayden, you're just copying off people. Hayden, do your own thing. I am doing my own thing. Okay? Because I am following my own dreams. I'm not living somebody else's dreams. I'm not doing anything that I want to do. I am so blessed and grateful because I get to live my life on my own terms. And matter of fact, I think I put this show together while I was on the beach, watching people walk by, because I refuse to do everything that 85% of the population does. They say that they want a good life, but they're not willing to put in the hard work that it takes to good life. They're not willing to persevere for the good life. And if they're not persevering, then they can never be tough enough to see their dreams come true. And I am running a little over on this particular segment. So I'm going to run this next segment in, and I'm going to find a way to cram it because I'm not going to leave anything out for you guys today. But it's time to take a short break. And I know that you guys are enjoying the show, but we'll be back with more right after this. Why replace your roof when you can repair it? Call Built Right Roofing today at 844-277-7663. That's 844-277-7663. Come and experience the Built Right way at 844-277-7663.
Invest in Macedonia.com. www.inmacedonia.com. The future to connecting the world.
The House of Bling is here. Woo! Specializing in rhinestone apparel. Bling out your company logo or team logo. Call today. 561-723-6781. Woo! They're ready. Get your bling, women, cheerleaders. Tell your coaches about the House of Bling. We're here for all custom apparel. Again, that phone number is 561-723-6781. Do you have a ride on your way? Are you in the New York area? When you're stuck, call on NYC Taxi Ride Yellow and Green. We have 2 apps at your availability. www.waytoride.com or www.GOARRO.com. NYC Yellow Cab is ready for you. The best pork barbecue, ribs, and chicken in the state of Florida. Don't believe it? Try it yourself. Call Bounce Back Barbecue at 561-307-4382. They also do catering. That's 561-307-4382.
And now more of the Hayden Russo Show on TalkZone.com. Back to Hayden Russo.
Woo! Woo! Yeah. It's just something about music that just does something to my mind. Anytime I'm having a character building day, I can just find myself. And you want to know something that is so unique? Some of the opera music that I listen to, some of the instrumental beat music that I listen to is purely instrumental. No words. My mind loves just the instrumental beats, and it gets my creative juices just flowing and going. You know? And I just love me some me. Who's going to love you if you don't love you? Who's going to believe in your dreams if you don't believe in your dreams and passionate about your dreams and saying, I will persevere through my dreams and I'll do anything legally, moral, and ethical to see these dreams through tornadoes, blizzards, hurricanes, tsunamis. Why? Because my kids depend on it. My wife depend on it. My husband, my daughter, my friend. Somebody's life might be at stake for it. Are you serious? Humbling yourself and understanding who you are is 90% of the battle. Execution is only 10%. And if we're only using 3 to 5% of our mind, what are we doing? What are we doing? Hey, Dave, we'll stay on that same clip at 1350 and we'll run the 1558 on that. Let me know when you're ready. But the bottom line here is that if we want the good life, and if we want to accomplish the good life within our lifetime before it's too late, or if God sneak up on us like a thief in the night and ask us to come to heaven because he got some special mission for us, do you want to say to yourself that you're in heaven and that you left your kids your family, and all of the people that you care for living the good life here on planet Earth. Dave, if you wouldn't mind going into that clip for me, I greatly appreciate it.
Real estate investors in the world persevered because, you see, everybody wants the good life, but not everybody's willing to persevere to get it. You must persevere. Next, books. Books you should see as hidden treasure. Think about it. If I told you, because, as I said, mentors are great in person, but some of the great mentors are no longer alive. Shakespeare, Darwin, Freud, Mahatma Gandhi. But if I told you all those people were in my house, they're going to be there this Saturday answering questions, magically I can make that happen. Would you show up at my house? Of course everybody would buy a plane ticket and end up in California. They are there in my house. They're on my library. They can be in your library too. Talking about Sam Walton. This is a man who made $160 billion for himself. More than all the other billionaires basically combined. He wrote a book on his deathbed. How many people have read it? It's a tragedy that not every business person's read a $5 book by a man who built an empire. But it's because the modern education system has turned people off from books. You've got to rewire your brain. Let me show you a few quick tricks. First thing is stop seeing a book like a one-time event. See a book like a friend. You read it over and over. You come back. And just like friends, you pick a handful of them. I recommend you find 150 books. There's 130 million. Can't read that many, but 150 you can read over and over for the rest of your life. There's no rule either at how fast you have to read them or what pace. I set my own pace. People say, how do you read a book a day? Sometimes I take a week. But sometimes books only have one or two things that are worth reading. In fact, most books only have that. So I flip through the pages one time. I like to go through 3 times. First time I read the table of contents, the back. The second time, go a little faster. The third time, I just focus on one chapter. See yourself like a gold miner, just looking for that one nugget. Then put it back on the shelf. The average American buys 17 books a year, maybe reads 1 a month. You should read at least 1 book a week. Because remember, everybody wants the good life, but not everybody's willing to read to get it. You must read more.
I have said constantly that reading is the new currency of the millennium. When you're looking at being successful, when you're looking at being successful and enduring and keeping your success, there is not going to be some magical pill or some magic wand, okay? It's going to be hard work. It's going to be hard. It's going to be preparation. We're talking about Bill Gates was a billionaire, but no one understands that Bill Gates was going after it ever since he was 12. He never gave up a day in his life. He worked every single day in his life until he became a billionaire in his 30s. Are you serious? That's almost 20 years of hard grind and sweat. Are you serious? You're supposed to go and dream, and you're supposed to say, oh, I worked for 6 months. My dream's supposed to come true. Really? Where people say that it takes 10,000 hours to become successful at your craft. Well, how do we get to those 10,000 hours? I look to get into those 10,000 hours as fast as humanly possible. Okay. The reason that I try to go out of my way to read as many books as I can, because I always want to be the dumbest person in the room. And some people, especially my wife, hates when I say that, is because when you say that, it makes you a continuous learner. It makes you hunger and thirst for learning. It doesn't make you this person that lets success goes to his head. Because see, Sam Walton, who was the richest man in the world, and now the Walton family has divided it. But when he was here, it was one. So he was richer than Bill Gates and Warren Buffett put together. And here it is. He was in a third world country on the floor, measuring the aisles because he thought that they knew something that he didn't know. And he went to jail behind it. He went to jail in a third world country. Because if they had a secret that he didn't know, he wanted to find out. He wasn't looking for riches. He still drove his old truck. Because although he had all of the money, it didn't fulfill his happiness. So his good life was taking care of people, giving them a low price, making the world a better place, and living his dream. And you think if he was the richest man in the world and he couldn't buy health, if he couldn't buy friendships, how do you think you can get there? You can't buy it. Go to the hospital and tell the doctor, I want to buy another 100 years because I'm the richest man in the world, and see how far that gets you. Dave, if you'll get that next clip together for me. But what we have to do is we have to begin to change our mindset. We have to begin to change the way that we think about things. We have to change the way that we see things. The first thing that I do in the mornings when I get up, after giving God thanks for waking me up and saying a prayer. And this morning I was thrown off a little bit because my kids came at 3:30 in the morning and said, hey, let's go work out. Okay. So I took them and we worked out, and we walked a couple miles, and we listened to some motivational, inspirational stuff while we walking. We're not there to talk to each other, because if you wake me up 3:30 in the morning, it needs to be business. Don't wake me up to talk. I'm not here for no conversation at 3:30 in the morning. I'm here to take care of business. And my son did just that. And now he's inspiring me, and he's giving me more energy. I haven't been back to sleep since. And I've changed my mindset because I want to do more, not only for myself, not only for my family, not only for the grandkids. I want to make the world a better place, and I want to go about that in a different way. And the only way we're going to do that is we got to begin to praise the process. We got to begin to fall in love with the process, the hunt. The lion is always ready for the hunt. And Dave, if you wouldn't mind going into that clip, I greatly appreciate it. No, let's go from 5:33. And I'll let you know when to stop it.
Research clearly shows these effects of mindset. In one study that Dr. Dweck did with Dr. Claudia Mueller, they had children do a set of puzzles. And then they praised the kids. To some of the kids, they said, wow, that's a really good score. You must be smart at this. That's fixed mindset praise, because it portrays intelligence or abilities as a fixed quality. To other kids, they said, wow, that's a really good score. You must have tried really hard. That's growth mindset praise, because it focuses on the process. Then they asked the kids, okay, what kind of puzzle would you like to do next? An easy one or a hard one? The majority of the kids who received the fixed mindset praise chose to do the easy puzzle, while the great majority of those who received the growth mindset praise chose to challenge themselves. Then the researchers gave a hard puzzle to all of the kids, because they were interested in seeing what confronting difficulty would do to their performance. Look at what happened when the kids later went back to the set of easier problems that they started with. The kids who received the fixed mindset praise did significantly worse than they had originally, while those who received the growth mindset praise did better. And to top it off, at the very end, kids were asked to report their scores. And the kids who received the fixed mindset praise lied about their scores over 3 times more often than those who received the growth mindset praise. They did not have another way to cope with their failure. The difference between these two groups? One short little sentence. How often do we praise kids for being smart or for being great at something? We've been told
you can go ahead and cut
will
that
raise
day.
their self-esteem.
You know, it's easy for anyone to be negative. It's easy for anyone to find fault in anything that goes wrong. It's easy for us to blame one another. It's easy for us to get stuck in our own self-pity. It's easy for us to give up. And for some of the super rich to totally give up. But I say, no. I say that if you know what it is that you want and you begin seeking the things that you want, then you will begin to read and find the answers and the solutions to anything, any problem, anything that you may think that you experience, anything that you think that you may want to be in this life. It's already been done. Stop trying to reinvent the wheel and go out and create and borrow from all of the people that have already done it. And they've left you the clues behind. They've left you the books. They've told you how they've done it. Stop trying to be stubborn and stop trying to be like everyone else and follow your dreams. And when you decide what it is that you want, plan for what it is that you want. Take your first baby steps and do 5 things a day. And don't let anyone get in your way, and stay away from those dream killers and continue to fight through all of the things that you're going to endure, to the failures, to the setbacks, to the people that would give up on you, the people that stop talking to you, the people that will no longer believe in you. You got to fight through those things. You got to persevere. You got to toughen up. You can't run a marathon if you can't get through the struggles and get through the finish line. No one love anyone that's in second place. They remember the person that's in first. So be the first one to complete your dream. Be the first one to the finish line. Be the one to say that I'm successful because I went after my own dream, and now I'm a teacher. Now I own a gas station. Now I own a garage. I have 10,000 books on my shelf that I can go to at any time. I'm advancing my learning. I'm learning through the power of listening, and I'm enhancing my learning. And I want to find ways to accelerate my learning through fast reading, better comprehension, and understanding. And I told you today that, to summarize what we came here today, we told you that if you dream anything that you want, and that if you persevere through all of the setbacks and all of the trials and tribulations that will come your way, that the success will find you because you was tough enough to make it all the way through the finish line. I hope that you have been inspired by this show. And we are happy to say that you can find Failure Is Not an Option on BarnesandNobles.com. We'll have it on our site. Thank you. And you're live on Talk Zone. Join us back next week from 5 to 6, live right here on TalkZone.com. Who is Hayden Russo? Featured in the Black Enterprise magazine, philanthropist, community activist, successful businessman, cheerleader. Find out who's Hayden Russo. Failure Is Not an Option. Available. Amazon.com. Motivational Speaker Incorporated. Hayden Russo. Author. Radio show host. Motivator. Book Hayden Russo today. 561-723-6775. It's time for a change. And let Hayden Russo show you the way. Why replace your roof when you can repair it? Call Built Right Roofing today at 844-277-7663. That's 844-277-7663. Come and experience the Built Right way at 844-277-7663.